Over the course of the past few years, the real estate market has just skyrocketed and continues to stay scorching hot. In fact, over the past year, home prices have risen over an eye-popping 20%. For perspective, over the past 10 years, home prices have seen an average growth around the 4% range. That's nearly 5x growth in 2021 alone. If you're a homeowner, you may be wondering, should I sell? Should I stay put? Should I hit the like button? Or should I buy a new home? In all seriousness, I struggled with this when I sold my first condo back in 2019 and wanted to outline in 5 steps why I sold my first investment property and hope you could use this to help you determine if you should sell your condo or stay put. The first step is pretty simple. Ask yourself, are there better buying opportunities? For me, the answer was yes. At the time, I was in a serious relationship with my now wife, and we wanted to purchase an investment property together. We wanted to upgrade to a multi-unit property, and while we had funds available for a down payment, it would have been under 20%. And in order to get the best rates for an owner-occupied property, we wanted to put down at least 20%. When I purchased my condo in 2015, I didn't realize I'd be riding the wave of appreciation and was fortunate to not be restricted on the ability to rent out my unit. See, some condo associations are strict on who can and who cannot live in the building. I lived in my condo for 2 years before moving in with my girlfriend and rented my unit for 2 additional years before selling. While the unit cash flowed, I wanted to take advantage of the 2 out of 5 year rule. In case you haven't heard of this, the IRS, or Uncle Sam as you might know him, always wants a cut of any money you've made. He'll basically tell you,
I won't tax you if you lived in your home for 2 out of the last 5 years, up to the first $250,000 in profits if you're unmarried, or $500,000 if you're married.
Considering we wanted to upgrade to a multi-unit, this was too good of an opportunity to pass up. I also wanted to increase my cash flow and wanted to get rid of the pesky HOA dues, which, in my case, they really weren't too bad at only $200. This leads me to the second step. Consider how active your homeowners association is. In my case, my HOA was not very active. In fact, we didn't hold any monthly meetings or communicate often unless there was an immediate repair that needed to be made. The HOA encompassed 4 condo owners, and within those 4 units, only 1 was owner occupied. As a result, there was a laundry list of upcoming maintenance items I knew needed to be taken care of in the near future. The building itself was under 20 years old, but like any beautiful things, they need maintenance, they need repairs, and they need parts replaced. They also need a little bit of love. Aww. During my time owning, I ended up coordinating most of the maintenance items, such as painting common areas, coordinating landscaping, exterior staircase repairs, and setting up waterproofing services for the building. Here's a pro tip for future condo buyers. Many new builds are made with cinder block, which is a porous material that requires waterproofing. If you're considering a building with this type of material, be sure to have it sealed every few years or just avoid it altogether. We shared a 20-car parking lot with 4 other buildings, and it was a challenge to have everyone on board when it came to snow removal. One year, we ended up having over 18 inches of snow with no coordination on clearing the lot or shared sidewalk. Lastly, with the upcoming big ticket repair items such as the roof and tuck pointing, I saw the finances and knew there had to be an upcoming special assessment in the next 5 years, and frankly, I didn't want to be a part of that. The third step, consider if the neighborhood has reached its peak or if there's still room for growth. For me, while amenities such as bars and restaurants were only a short train ride away, I knew that they wouldn't be in walking distance anytime soon. Crime was also a concern as the condo was right off the expressway and next to the train station, which was good to get around from the city, but bad for crime to easily get in and out of the area. For perspective, the property was a 5-minute ride into downtown Chicago, but I didn't anticipate it changing to a point where I myself would want to live there. There was also a lack of new construction, which I'll admit, there's a lack of new construction everywhere, even to this day. I also noticed that home prices were still 20% lower than they were at their peak just before the 2000s housing crisis. For example, when the home was built and sold in 2004, it sold for $255,000. I purchased it almost 10 years later in 2015 for $165,000, almost a $100,000 difference. By the time I sold it in 2019, the value was at $217,000. And I recently tracked the comps in the neighborhood for this video, and the next comparable sale or comp has only been $232,000, or 10% lower than pre-recession prices. Lastly, while I didn't struggle to find tenants, the neighborhood didn't have a neighborly feel. My tenants turned over year after year, and in some ways I felt that this lack of neighborly feel contributed to the turnover in tenants. The fourth step to consider is, can you customize your home or not. In my case, with the condo, I was landlocked, meaning I couldn't add any more space to my home. I couldn't expand up or down. The only way to gain more space would have been to either purchase a second unit within the building or sell the unit. Additionally, the finishes within the unit were nice, yet they were starting to become dated. I mentioned that the building was constructed in the early 2000s, so the finishes were around 15 years old. In other words, not too old to have to replace, yet not new enough to have the most recent look. Any big replacements were out of the question due to budgetary reasons, and based on the comps, I knew I wouldn't get that money back when I sold. Instead, I focused on practical updates such as painting my kitchen cabinets white, changing a few lights, and installing the backsplash to provide a little personality. The fifth step to consider is what type of market will you be jumping into? Meaning, is it a buyer's market where there are more homes for sale compared to the number of buyers on the market? Or is it a seller's market where the inventory is low and the number of buyers is high? In my case, it was a seller's market and I wanted to get top dollar for my condo. Additionally, I wanted to take advantage of low interest rates whenever I found my next property. I also had my eyes set for the future, thinking that my girlfriend and I would be in a better position in life if I sold my condo to reinvest elsewhere as opposed to either keeping it with the slew of problems mentioned above. However, I should note, if I were in the same position today, interest rates would be higher and I would have been in a position to either pay capital gains taxes on any of the profits I made, or I would have been in a position to take advantage of a 1031 exchange. A 1031 exchange would have basically allowed me to avoid paying capital gains taxes and reinvest the gains into a similar property of equal or greater value. Looking back upon it, we ended up using some of the proceeds from my condo on a multi-unit property, which is higher cash flow and allows us to essentially live for free, with essentially having our mortgage payment covered and even having enough money to put into a rainy day fund. Ultimately, for me, selling my condo meant I had the autonomy to run my investment how I want without having to worry about the approval of other owners. In a market as competitive as today, I hope you can use these same steps to help you with your decision on keeping or selling your condo. Now, if you've made it this far, you may enjoy this video. With that being said, thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.